WNST, Towson, Baltimore, combining two of my favorite universities. They are and have been partners of our company and supporting our family and our friends. Two of the local schools that do that at Coppin State and UMBC getting together on a Tuesday night. Had a wonderful meal down at Franco's. So if you see Greg or you see Jimmy, anybody, any of the guys down there, make sure you tell them we said hello and thank you for a great night in Catonsville. My wife and I had a little date night down there and went over to the Rack. And it may be one of the final games I ever see at the Rack as they move into the new facility down there. And, of course, you know about our partnership with Coppin State University and Juan Dixon. And we are your home for Eagles basketball. The game was aired on WNST. We're going to have many more ahead. And I got to spend the Tuesday night not only with some friends from Coppin State and some friends from UMBC, but also got to catch up with Robert Canady, who was, of course, our college basketball insider and our golf man over at Compass Point Golf Course in Pasadena. No golf right now with the snow and all that. I know that, Robert, but you've moved into the hardwoods, and we had a pretty competitive basketball game on Tuesday night. I think it's pretty clear Towson is the best team in the area locally, but still a great vibe down there at UMBC and a very competitive game between Juan Dixon's young Eagles and the UMBC Retrievers. And you know, they got the win, but it was a good basketball game on a cold Tuesday night.
Yeah, Nestor, it really was a great environment there on Tuesday night. I think it was one of the better crowds for UMBC so far this year, and obviously having the Coppin State being 6 miles down the road helped that. They had a good contingent, and it was really a close game. 3 points with 5 minutes to go. Both teams went on several runs, as we saw. I think UMBC went on like an 18-2 blitz for about a 2-minute period, and then Coppin came back with their own run, 14. So, Juan's team is struggling. They've played on the road this whole non-conference season, and they've been competitive in a lot of those games. And that's got to be tiring and wearing on them. But you also have to think, it'll help them as they get toward their conference season. And they're playing more on their level of teams, and that being on the road and won't be new to them. So I mean.
Well, they shot the ball a little better, right? I mean, not where Juan wants them to be. And, I felt like UMBC, every time that kid Mara was out on the court, the little guy, it really changed. Visions of Jay Green back in the day, over there, or Billy Leonard up at Towson. But, seeing a guard come in, and when he was in the game, I think it sort of changed the way UMBC saw the floor and the kind of passes they were getting, the kind of looks at the bucket they were getting.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's the piston that makes that engine run. I mean, they play a high octane, fast paced game. They like to get up and down the court, and when he's in there leading it, he's certainly not going to probably out rebound anyone or out muscle anyone. But boy, he's forced to keep up with. And I think he had 8 assists on the night, and he just really sets the pace for them. And is great at distributing the ball to the scorers. They've got some great 3-point shooters with Sherburne and, of course, Lyles. And, so they hit those last night. I think they hit close to 50% in the second half and 42% for the game. So they are going to be a force in the American East Conference. I think they were picked second in the preseason polls, and I haven't seen anything. This is, I think, the second or third time I've seen them so far this year. And I haven't seen anything that shows me otherwise. They are a fun team to watch.
We are on the line with Robert Canady. He is Buckets and Birds out on Twitter. You can follow him for all your golf and local college basketball stuff. And, of course, all of it brought to you by Compass Point Golf Course down in Pasadena. It is the best place to play this fall and this winter when the snow is not down there. I know, that snow comes out. It's kind of like, the kids and the teachers are all happy. The rest of us have to plow through it and figure out how to shovel it and keep it off our windshields. For a golf course, it shuts you guys down for a couple days. But I know, you come back to life pretty quickly when it melts like that too, right?
Absolutely. We actually had people out on, I think it was Monday afternoon. I think the snow came in on Saturday and was pretty much melting by Sunday, and we had a little bit Monday morning, but by Monday afternoon we had probably a couple dozen people out there playing. It wasn't that bad. Temperatures in the 40s, and so Yeah, it didn't. We weren't down for long, and
we got to keep the ski people and the ice rinks and the snow plowers. Got to keep them fed this winter too, right? So,
absolutely,
Mother Nature is going to get involved here, but I do know you guys are open most of the time down there, and if people want to go out there and swing it on a 35-degree day, you'll let them.
Absolutely, yeah. And actually, tying it into the UMBC friends and family, I saw last Tuesday night at the game there. I saw a couple of our people that played in tournaments out here and that had outings out here for the season. So, so it was good to see the basketball golf worlds mixing, like you said.
You're not the only one. That's addicted to both.
I'm not the only one. No, surprisingly not.
So for Towson being the best team, and we'll get to Maryland in a minute, and we could circle it all back with the fact that we're really getting into tournament play here very quickly as the holidays sneak up on us. We're getting to the end of the Gardner Webbs and whatnot. But Towson has really put the foot down here early on, and I think has really raised the level of expectations that they got to be playing basketball in March for this to be a successful season up there for Coach Pat Scarry, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's where you're always measured by what you do in March at the end of the season in the conference tournament. And then, with the CAA always being for the most part of the one bid league, that's that's your one chance. If, you can go undefeated in the conference season, but if you slip up in the tournament there, chances are you're going to be either in a lower level tournament or watching from home. So
not in tournament, NIT.
Right. If you're, that's not bad, but, then there's always a CIT or CPI below those, which, you have the pay-for-play type tournaments, which they've played in the past. I think Pat likes to think they've advanced well beyond that stage, but, yeah, they're 10-1. They've done a lot of it on the road. There are only 4 home games, which they've won those 4 at home, but they've, as we've spoken about in the past, a couple long-distance tournaments, one in Florida, one in Ireland, and then they came back and beat the 2 local teams last week in the crosstown rivalries, the Morgan State and the UMBC. So,
all you can do is win when those teams are in front of you, and part of being at that level is, Terps don't really want to see them so much, right? Or like that. The teams that they could knock off, the teams that Coppin plays, let's say, in any specific November and December, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, Pat Scarry's spoken about that a lot this year and last year, but more so this year, that it's really become, they're victim of their success. It's been tough for him to schedule. They've, they had a couple holes in the schedule they tried to fill this year with Richmond and or Georgetown, and both of them turned it down, and both Richmond and Georgetown ended up playing each other on that date, and so, yeah, they do the best they can. They play the local teams. They'll go on the road. He's at the point now where, he's looking for home and homes with some of the big schools, and some are willing to do it, some aren't. So they're going to go on the road. We'll find out in the next 2 weeks. Really, they are very good, but they'll be tested the next 2 weeks. What they go on the road. They're on holiday break or semester break, I should say, for the next week or so. But they'll play at Oakland and then at University of Pitt. Next week, and then they open the conference season right after the first of the year with at Charleston and at Elon down in North Carolina. So both Elon and Charleston are expected to do well in the CAA. So they're 10-1 now. If they come out of those 4 games, even 12-3, I think you have to think it's they're setting up for a very successful conference run. I know Pat would like to come out of them 14-1, but we'll see what happens. And they're starting to get some national recognition. They're ranked number 8 in the mid-major poll that just came out this last week. They've got 3 AP top 25 votes. So, the program's definitely getting some national notice there, which is good to see at this level for this area.
Well, they're going to continue to win. I think that's obvious as long as they stay healthy. The question would be where they get tripped up, right? You're going to lose a game or 2 or 3 you're not supposed to lose. I think that is the challenge when you enter your conference expected to sort of win a whole lot, that any night they lose is going to be, a kind of a disappointing, weird night for them, because they have gone out and, at least in the early part of the season, said, we're the better team most nights we come on the court, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about conference and basketball. They could very easily, go down to James Madison, and they could be 6-0, and Madison could be 1-5, and they could, get tripped up down there. The CAA is a very competitive conference for a mid-major, and every game, every coach, it's coach speak to say, but every coach in their conference says, every game's a war. But
Well, they got to go out and play Pitt in a week and a half, right? I mean, right before Christmas, that's a serious game for them, right?
Absolutely. That'll be a homecoming of sorts for Scary, as he was an assistant there, but right before he took this job. And
I was talking to some guys in the press box at Heinz Field about that. Absolutely. Bill Hillgrove's the voice of Pitt basketball, so they all knew Pat as well, and he had a great reputation up there in Pittsburgh. It's how he got the job.
Yeah, and that's a tough place to play. The arena there and everything with the students right on top of you. So that'll be a very good test for them, as well the game before at Oakland, which was NCAA tournament team in the past couple of years. So we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to watch over the next 2 weeks, and then watch them as they go in the conference season, as well as UMBC, and then find out what the Terps are, what they're going to do, if they're going to get things turned around. And I shouldn't say turn around; they're 9-3, so it's not like they're losing or anything. But I think people may have expected a little bit more consistency from what we've seen from them so far. So.
I'm shocked you didn't go up to Delaware and see Notre Dame when Bray came in last weekend. I lost my aunt, and I was up in Newark, in downtown Newark, at her service last Friday, and it was sort of bustling with people, and I saw some Notre Dame stuff and a lot of UAD stuff, and I didn't realize, that's as big a game as they'll ever play there, right?
Absolutely, and it was really something I wanted to do, and I forget what it was. I forget what day it was, but I did have a commitment because it's not a tough drive at all from the Baltimore area.
It was the day it snowed. It was Saturday, as I remember it.
Okay, so it snowed, and then there was. That's right. So that would have been tough to get up there and everything. So that is a big thing for talk about coming back to your alma mater and bringing that's great to see that Mike Bray did that. And I did catch some of it on television and everything, and it was a great environment there. And,
I love what Bray said, because the game was real competitive early, and they pulled away. Right. They won by 24 points. Bray said in the post game, for the first 15 minutes, I'm like, why did you do this?
I can imagine.
Hey, you better hope Pitt's thinking the same thing when Scary comes up there 2 weeks from now, right?
They may very well, yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing. About these guarantee games, they're supposed to guarantee income and guarantee a victory for the for the bigger school, but
that's a double guarantee. It's the money back guarantee, I guess, at this point. Robert Canady joining us here. He's Buckets and Birds out on Twitter. He is our local college basketball hoops guru and insider. Did spend the evening with him on Tuesday night down there at the Rack at UMBC. Maybe my final go at the Rack while they get their new facility open down there. And, of course, we are the voice of Coppin State University. We are your home for Eagles basketball. The Juan Dixon Report here as well at CoppinStateSports.com. And, of course, you can find Robert at Buckets and Birds, but also down at Compass Point Golf Course in Pasadena. A great course close to home. You can find them at CompassPointGolf.com. All right, save the best for last here. Terps aren't going badly right now either. Is certainly a lot of things for Coach Turgeon to improve upon as they go back into the Big Ten play and get rid of these Gardner-Webb type games. But, so far so good with the Terps. They are a fun basketball team to watch. I'll say that much.
They are, Anthony Cowan, is doing a great job running them, and taking the big step as far as his sophomore year has improved, and just really continuing to do well, and gives them a lot of energy at that point guard, and then Herter's been very consistent and everything. Their other Justin Jackson, the other great freshman from last year, that's still battling some nagging injuries right now and everything, and he hasn't really become what they've hoped him to be, which there's been people talking about, going to NBA draft at the end of this year, but, there's a lot to be said before that happens.
A lot to be said, yes.
Yeah, so we'll see how that does during the conference. They've, they had the two conference games last week that they split, winning, at Illinois, but losing to Purdue. So, but I think they have Fairleigh Dickinson and then UMBC. So we'll get to see UMBC down there in a couple weeks. At Xfinity Center. I'll be down for that, right? So that'll close out like you said, the non-conference season, and then they get started right away with...
That game's on the 29th, for those of you who are trying to add that up. The 29th, it's an 8 o'clock game down in at College Park between UMBC and Maryland. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So... 8 o'clock start. You got to love those, right?
Well, the Michigan State game's going to be the next real thing. I mean, they have to go to East Lansing on January 4th, which would be right before the football playoffs begin, right after the new year. I mean, that's going to be the night of measurement. They should win the rest of these games, including Penn State on the second.
Yeah, they should, and they've got to fix the turnover issue. I mean, I think I saw a stat the other day. They're near the bottom of the Division I in the number of turnovers per game, and you just can't expect that at their level, especially if you consider who they've been doing it against. I think that's some of the most concerning thing. Having 18 turnovers, I think it was, against Catholic the other night, and that's not the type of thing you're looking for when you're playing a Division III team. So that's got to be something that they've got to fix. But that's what the early part of the season's for, is to get the bugs worked out and get everything hopefully smooth by the time the conference season rolls around. And they will be tested early with that Michigan State and Iowa right after that.
Interesting that St. Bonaventure loss smelled so bad, in the early part. But, bottom line on that is they're not bad, right? I mean, they're going to be okay this year. Maryland's not the only good team St. Bonaventure is going to beat this year.
No, and that's the thing about, some of these early season games. What looks like it could be, a bad loss turns out to be a really good one, and it helps your strength of schedule and everything. It's things that look bad early in the season turn out not to look so bad and could, end up not hurting you. And so it's, they're definitely going to beat a lot of people in their conference. So it was not a bad loss at this point at all.
Terps with a couple of cupcakes ahead before we get into Big Ten play, and, of course, the big game on the 4th against Michigan State. You can find Robert Canady out at Buckets and Birds on Twitter, as well as down at Compass Point Golf Course, where they have many things and the deals going on down there for the holiday season. Of course, it's never too early to start thinking about the spring if you're doing an event, to look up Robert down there at Compass Point Golf. He's also out on Twitter and on Facebook, and an easy-to-find individual. Very available, just like me and Mr. Angelos. Robert, always good to spend some time with you, man. That was fun down there at the Rack on Tuesday night. We shall get together again soon, watch some more hoops.
Yeah, we'll find another gym and another good game to watch, and we'll do it.
You got it, man. At some point, we'll get to the Palestra.
We'll put that on our list to do.
That's on my bucket list. It is not going to Philly, just going to Palestra. Can we helicopter in and out? I mean, maybe get a cheesesteak along the way or two. That'd be all right. I pick on Philly, but I feel bad about the whole Carson Wentz thing. I know you Redskins fans don't, right?
I do personally for him. It's the team. I'm not sad about the team losing or anything, and they could lose out.
Yeah, nobody likes a happy Eagles fan.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they're among the worst in the area. I mean,
I got so many friends up there. It's awful. I mean, Jimmy Schwartz is running the defense, and he's family. Joe Douglas and Andy Weidel from the Ravens. I mean, they're running Joe Douglas, one of my favorite people, and Torrey Smith. I mean, Corey Graham's up there. I mean, there's a lot of reason for me to be happy if I see the Eagles in Minnesota. As long as I can stay away from the fans, and as long as they actually lose in the Super Bowl, except they'd be losing to like the Patriots or the Steelers. So I might actually, can you imagine a Philadelphia-Pittsburgh Super Bowl or a New England? I mean, who would you root for, right?
I guess you'd root for the halftime show and the commercials or something. Yeah, so that could be a pretty bad matchup. Except for the state of Pennsylvania, of course, would love it, but. Let's hope for something else along those lines.
Yeah, I can't hate on Schwartzy and Douglas, but we'll get to the Palestra. All right, there he goes, Robert Canady, as I meander here. I'm known to do that when it gets cold outside here. I'm freezing up in the studio today. I can't get warm. We lost my dear friend Pat Denizio. I am wearing my Smithereens, especially for you shirt, so I'm having a blue period, and I'm especially in a lonely place right now without Pat. So I just want to give a shout out to one of my favorite rock star buddies who we lost at the age of 62 on Wednesday morning. So thought out to Tex Remy and all my buddies up there in the great state of New Jersey, and Scotch Plains and Carteret and Mike Maceros and all the tentacles of my almost famous youth. So I just want to give a shout out to the Smithereens. You can find me out in the buyatoyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day. I'm going to try to retrieve my Pat Denizio interviews and display them for everyone, because I am getting asked about them now, because I do have several pretty good sit-downs with Pat. So that might be appearing at some point out in the buyatoyota.com audio vault, as well as here on the radio at AM 1570 and WNST. The morning newspaper comes at 7 a.m. each and every morning. That's all brought to you by Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. It's $10 a month. There's never any commitment. It's pretty cool. There's one right around the corner from you, and it gives me a chance to work off the eggnog and the pumpkin pie and Mr. Rooney's cookies at Planet Fitness. Last but never least, any breaking news. If the Orioles actually do something in Orlando, you'll get it first on your mobile device. It's all brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Dennis will be here on Thursday, driving you home, getting you ready for the weekend. It's from 3 until 5. It's the SSV on WNST, and you can follow Dennis during the games. It's always entertaining as well, as our conversations are. Last but never least, Nasty at WNST.net fans. Me, I am a very available individual 24 hours a day. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live here on our Facebook Live as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. I'm Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.